Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together please. Om Jnana Timarandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshuramilutam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stavitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dhina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishubhana Suta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, today's verse is number 55, chapter 2, contents of Gita summarized. Please repeat. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Patha Manogatan Admani Evatmana Tushtaha Stita Pragnyas Tadocyate Shri Bhagavan Vacha Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Patha Manogatan Atmane Evana Tushtaha Sita Pragyas Tadocyate. Please repeat. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said. Prajahati. Gives up. Yada. When. Karman. Desires for sense gratification. Sarvan. Of all varieties. Patha. O son of Pritha. Managatan. Of mental concoction. Atmani. In the pure state of the soul. Eva. Certainly. Atmana. By the purified mind. Tushtaha. Satisfied. Stita pragya. Transcendently situated. Tada. At that time. Uchyate. Is said. Translation Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. Please repeat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said. O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction. And when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. Purport Srila Prabhupada. The Bhagavatam affirms that any person who is fully in Krishna consciousness or devotional service of the Lord has all the good qualities of the great sages, whereas a person who is not so transcendently situated has no good qualifications, because he is sure to be taking refuge in his own mental concoctions. Consequently, it is rightly said herein that one has to give up all kinds of sense desire manufactured by mental concoction. Artificially, such sense desires cannot be stopped. But if one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, then automatically sense desires subside without extraneous efforts. Therefore, one has to engage himself in Krishna consciousness without hesitation, for this devotional service will instantly help one onto the platform of transcendental consciousness. The highly developed soul always remains satisfied in himself by realizing himself as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. Such a transcendentally situated person has no sense desires resulting from petty materialism. Rather, he remains always happy in his natural position of eternally serving the Supreme Lord. Mukam karochi vachalam bhangam laite grim yad kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurun dinatarinam. Shri Bhagavan vacha prajahati yada karman sarvam patha manogatan atmane eva mana tushtaha stita pragnyastadochyate. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. Yes. So, contents of Gita summarized. So, the Gita is a summary of the Upanishads, which is the transcendental portion of the Vedas. And the Gita, therefore, is a summary of all transcendental knowledge. And so this chapter is the summary of the Gita, contents of the Gita summarized. It's one of the longer chapters, it's 72 verses long. The longest chapter is chapter 18, it's 78 verses long. So the summary of the Vedic knowledge means karma kanda, jnana kanda, bhakti kanda, or upasana kanda. 3 parts of knowledge. So you'll find that in the Gita. At the beginning of this chapter, Arjuna is the conditioned soul. He's confused about his duty. He doesn't know what to do, what not to do. He's confused. But he surrenders to Krishna. He takes Krishna as his guru. Karpanya doso. I take you as my Guru Krishna. Enough of this friendly talk. You guide me now. You seem to know what you're talking about. I'm confused. So then Krishna tells him, you're not the material body. And this is the source of all your problems. You don't want to do your dharma as a Kshatriya, which is your duty, bounden duty. This battle, Krishna explains, is my arrangement later on. And you can be an instrument in the fight. And if you do that, you'll be glorious. But if you don't, still my plan will come to fruition. And my plan is that this Duryodhana character is not qualified to rule the kingdom. He's a bad fellow. And we know from Shastra, he's an expansion of Kali Yuga. And we all know what Kali Yuga is. You just have to read the newspaper. Everywhere fighting, quarrel, hypocrisy, the Iron Age of quarrel and hypocrisy. So then Krishna, once the idea is established, you're not spirit soul and you must do your dharma, And you shouldn't be withdrawing from your dharma because you're scared of killing people, because there's no such thing as death. For the soul, once having been, there is neither birth nor death. The soul is eternal. So you must do your duty, Arjuna. That is your primary concern, not your mental concoctions about what is right and wrong. It's mentioned here, mental concoctions. So that is the basis of all knowledge, that we are not the body, we are spirit soul. So then Krishna explains that you have to do your dharma, your karma. So this is karma kanda. Basically, karma kanda means what? You have a birth and you have certain guna, and that means your karma will come, your tendency to a particular work, and then, but you should perform your work as dharma. And when you perform your work as an offering to Supreme, then that's the perfection of karma kanda. You're doing your material duties, you're acting according to your material propensities, but you're not doing it for a material fruit. That's the corruption of karma. I'm doing something, I want the fruit. But I'm doing my karma as an offering to the Supreme Lord. So I'm a Kshatriya, but I'm not just fighting because I'm a Kshatriya, I'm fighting as a service to the Supreme Lord. So this is the secret of work, right? The art of all work. To be equipoised, Krishna, if you remember last week, he said, be equipoised and do your duty, Arjuna. Don't worry about gain and safety. But, so what should you worry about? You should worry about doing your job perfectly. This is the instruction for all humanity. You have a duty, you're a man, woman, you're a father, you're a mother, you're a doctor, you're a politician, you're a worker, you're a teacher. But do your job perfectly. And don't be greedy for the result. The result will come by the grace of Krishna. Klesas adhikarascha, it's earlier verse, I believe. Krishna says, you have a right to perform your duty, but you don't have the right to the fruit. Because you're an instrument. This is my creation. I've given you existence. I've given you your material body. I've given you this material arrangement. And you should be the instrument. So this is karma. And this jnana has been given. The basic idea of jnana is knowledge. So he has been given knowledge that you're the spirit soul. You're the servant of the Supreme. So now, what does that mean? What does that all add up to? Karma and jnana. It means bhakti. So it can't really be separated into karma kanda, jnana kanda, upasana kanda. It's really the Vedas, it's all unified. And it is all pointing to a realization of Krishna, as Krishna says later, Vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. That I've compiled the Vedas, I'm to be known, I'm the knower of the Veda, and I am to be known by the Veda. So that is the purpose of everything. The purpose of everything is not to perform your material duties very expertly. Your final analysis is not to just become full of knowledge. If you walk that path, the tendency will be in personalism, that you'll just become a little proud, I have knowledge and everyone else doesn't have my degree of understanding. So, use your knowledge to engage in bhakti. And this is the goal. So that's the end of the bhakti process, is to realize the Supreme. And here is, Krishna is explaining what the fruit of bhakti is. When a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind thus purified finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. So that is the goal. Everyone is in this Kali Yuga condition, confused about their duty, confused in terms of knowledge, not knowing what to be devoted towards. And because of that, they just remain on the material platform. And all their concoctions cannot bring them to transcendental consciousness, which is the goal. You see, if you have verse number 52, when your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, that's the material conception of life, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. Yes, so nowadays people, they have the internet, and there's many people putting forward their ideas. They're called influencers. This is a new expression. You can make a YouTube channel and you can put your ideas forward. But and they're all trying to work out who's in control. This is a big fanciful idea in the material world. Who is the controller? Because everyone in the material world wants to be the Ishavasha idam sarvam. He wants to be the controller and enjoyer. He's working so that he can control the material energy, and he can then enjoy the material energy. But the spiritual consciousness is not to enjoy or to be the controller, but to be the servitor of the Supreme. But not having any knowledge, you live in a world of mental concoction. And therefore it is said, you'll become indifferent, Arjuna, when you realize transcendence. And that is the problem. Just like everyone is saying, who is the big controller, right? Behind the politicians, there's the financial power. Is it the Catholic Church? Is it the bankers? Is it the black nobility of Europe? Is it the military-industrial complex? Is it the oil companies? Well, it's all these things. But they have no power. Just like Ravana. He thought he was a big cheese, right? Ravana thought he's a big man. Duryodhana thinks he's a big man. He's got 11 Akshahinis. And Arjuna side only have 7. Hiranyakashipu, he was ruling the whole universe. He defeated all the demigods. He was trying to rewrite the Vedas and rewrite reality. But no. So the thing is, everything is illusion in the material platform. It is all mental concoction. You may think it's the bankers, you may think it's the oil companies, the military-industrial complex, but actually it is time. Kalosmi aham. Time is the ruler. And time is giving the people the fruit of their karma. And it is also taking away their status or increasing their status. There's one verse here, now that I remember it. Yastvindra gopam atavendram ahosva karma bandhana rupam falabhajanam atanoti karmadi nirdahati kinchu chabakti bhajam govindamari purisham tamaham bhajami. So that is verse 54. Yes, of Brahma Samhita. So this is Lord Brahma offering prayer. Samhita means collection of prayers to Lord Brahma. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who burns up to their roots all fruitive activities of those who are imbued with devotion, and impartially ordains for each the due enjoyment of the fruits of one's activities, of all those who walk in the path of work, in accordance with the chain of their previously performed work, no less in the case of the tiny insect that bears the name of Indragopa than that in the of Indra, the king of the Devas. Yes, so Lord Brahma is explaining, yes, that I worship Govinda, and he impartially ordains the fruit of everyone's work. So yes, now you may be a trillionaire, you may be a poor man, you may be a big politician, but this is all bestowed upon you by the Supreme Lord through the agency of the modes of material nature, the time factor. And everyone is subject to those things. Everyone is subordinate. And as Krishna explains in the 11th chapter, Mrityu sarva haraschaham, that in the end, Arjuna, this whole world and everybody in it will be just ground to a paste. everything will just become dust in the wind. There is no permanence in the material world. So people have the illusion of control. That is the Maya, that is the gift of Krishna. But Krishna, that is explaining here that this whole material world is a concoction of sense enjoyment. And people are interpreting it as happiness. For example, if you're born in South America, you may like South American music. If you're living in China, you may listen to South American music and think, what's that? It's a bit weird. I preferred my Chinese music. Then if you live in Africa, you say, I prefer my African music. That European music is no good. So it's all mental concoction. Everybody is checking this reality and analyzing it and judging it accordingly, according to their own preferences for sense enjoyment. They're reciprocating through the material body. So what does it mean? Let us look more. But Krishna is supervising it. This is the missing point. Ishyavasya idam. Everything is controlled and owned by the Supreme Lord. First verse of the Upanishad. So to look amongst human beings and think, who is the controller, is a fruitless task. It is useless, because everybody is under control in the material world. There is only one controller, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha. But people have an illusion of control and an illusion of enjoyment in the material world. This is the point, and that is Krishna's arrangement. Actually, we can't enjoy separate from the Supreme Lord, but we can be given the illusion of enjoyment. Krishna is Rasavaisaha. He is the embodiment of all rasa, not all, just all power, but all variety. Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, laughter, astonishment, chivalry, compassion, anger, dread, ghastliness. All these different rasas that are part and parcel that we perceive with our consciousness, that is all part of the energy of the Lord. And according to the supervision of Krishna as Paramatma, Supreme, we are given a certain path through the material energy in accordance with the chain of their previously performed works. So we're bound by karma. Now you may want to dress like a woman, and you may even say in the modern day, I'm a woman, but that doesn't change your chromosomes. Your DNA doesn't change just because you put on a dress. So this material world, just by mental concoction, thinking you're a man or a woman, it's all illusory. You may double the illusion, but the thing is, everyone is identifying with the material body. And because they identify with the material body, they think this material body will give me happiness. Varieties of desire for sense gratification. And it's all coming from mental concoction. So what is sense gratification? This body is a bundle of senses. And we see in the Shastra that there are Kamendriyas and Gyanendriyas. The Gyanendriyas are the knowledge-acquiring senses. So that means hearing, touch, sight, taste, and smell. But there is also Manashastra Indriyani, Krishna says, there are 6 senses, including the mind. So the mind is also, Krishna, a sense. Therefore we have psychics. They try to improve their mental ability to perceive things just on the mental plane, so on. But what are the Kamendriyas? The Kamendriyas are senses also, but they're working senses. Gyanendriyas, Kamendriyas. Kamendriyas means senses by which we perform work within the material energy. So one is speaking. They are also related to the Pancha Mahabhuta. You know, ether, air, fire, water and earth. So ether, that is transmitting sound vibration in its nascent form. So the Kamendriya for equivalent to ether, if you like, is speaking. And then the next Kamendriya is the arms. With our arm we work. Just like the Kshatriya, he fights, we administrate the body and so on and so forth. So then there is the torso. So the third Kamendriya is the body by which we work to digest food. And then the next one, level on the water level, if you like, is the genital function. It is for reproducing, for doing the work of making babies. Right? So then we have the one that touches the earth, which is the legs. And we use the legs. So this body is a bundle of senses, and they all run into the mind, which is supervised by the intelligence. And then the soul his attitude is to enjoy the fruit of this body. Just like that verse that Prabhupada always quoted in the Upanishads, that the body is like a tree, but within the tree there are two birds. So there is the spirit soul and there is the super soul. And this is the material body. And the material, individual soul is looking out at the body. He's not looking to the super soul. His attention is to the fruit of the tree. Just like a bird flies in the tree and he wants to eat the fruit. So we want to enjoy sense gratification. So one time a devotee once said to me, "Oh, this devotee, this god brother, he wasn't into sense gratification in the material world." Well, I thought for a moment, wait a second, that means he didn't exist in the material world. Because everything in the material world is sense gratification. We like to walk, right? Kamendriyas. We like to have sex life, make babies. We like to digest food. We like to play madanga. We like to have a fight. People like to cook. We like to do so many things with our arms. And everybody likes to talk, especially in India. It's a great entertainment. It's called being loquacious. People like to get together and have a chat. Have a cup of tea and a parley biscuit. And discuss the world. So that is sense gratification. We must understand what is sense gratification. We like to talk, we like to use our arms, express ourselves, we like to digest, we want to have sex, and we like to take a walk. Kamendriyas. And then what do we want? We want to hear beautiful sounds, Jnanendriya. We want to touch nice things. We don't want to wear sackcloth. We want to wear silk. Well, some of us. And then silk, touch. And then we want to see beautiful things, right? If we see 10 ladies, we'll think, where's the most beautiful one? At least the materialist will. So we're always looking for the beautiful sight. We're not looking into the rubbish dump, we're looking for the rainbow. Now, the rainbow in Kali Yuga is starting to mean something other than beautiful. The rainbow people. Anyway, but then, so we want to see beautiful things, we want to taste beautiful things, we want to drink nice things, and we want to eat nice things, and we want to smell nice things. Nobody wants to smell the gutter, they want to go to the Loy Bazaar and get the thing. So everyone is engaged in sense gratification. But, so first we have to understand that scientifically. We have to conceptualize that. And then here Krishna says, why are we desiring it? Because the mental concoction. So the root of the mental concoction is that we're thinking we're this material body. We've forgotten that we're the spirit soul, because we're looking out into the tree of the material body trying to enjoy the fruit. We're not looking to the super soul. And the basis of the mental concoction is that I am this material body. And therefore, if I satisfy the demands of the body, then this is the success of my life. And I'll gain satisfaction in this way. But because we're not the material body, we're never satisfied by material life alone. So therefore, the human being, he is naturally inquiring spiritually. So the Bhagavad-Gita gives this state of spirituality. And it is detachment from sense gratification. This is the important point. The mental concoction that we are this material body, and that by satisfying the material body in different ways, in the South American way, or the Chinese way, or the African way, or the European way, it's all concoction based on I am this body. And it is changing. The concoction changes. When we're a child, we think this will be happiness, to get a bicycle. When we're older, we want to get a motor car, and then we want this. It's all mental concoction. This will make me happy. So Krishna is inviting Arjuna and the rest of the universe, don't walk that path. But rather, as it says here, I adore primeval Lord Govinda, who burns up to their roots all fruitive activities of those who are imbued with devotion. The word here is that if we walk this path of karma, then we will get karma phal. We will get the fruit of karma, and that means that we will get another material body. And we will remain in the cycle of birth and death. We will remain in this material world suffering in all the temporary situations, friends and enemies, everything. There's no end to it. And it won't come to an end if you satisfy your desires. It will be just another step in the forest of delusion. Just like fifth canto, we've been discussing the last couple of classes. Fifth canto, the soul is compared to a tradesman, a merchant, that goes into the forest looking for some profit. I'll get some leaves, I'll get some fruits, I'll get some wood, and then I'll make a profit in the marketplace. So that we've come to the material world to try and make a profit. But all we do is we get entangled in the laws of karma. So, armed with spiritual knowledge, one can start to dilute this attachment to mental concoction. Cheto darpanam arjunam bhavmahar nivagni nivapanam. That verse, nasta prayeshu abhadreshu. Hello? Nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttamasloke bhakti bhavati naistike. That if you hear the spiritual knowledge, then the disturbance of the lower modes, passion and ignorance, which drives you in this material direction, become lessened. Prabhupada mentions that in the purport. But one who is engaged in Krishna consciousness, then automatically sense desires subside without extraneous efforts. So we're in this mental concoction world. We have to fight with knowledge, spiritual knowledge, and we have to not give up the desire for knowledge or our activities, but rather dovetail them in Krishna consciousness. And then, when the mind is purified, it finds satisfaction in the Supreme Self alone. So in the Mandukya Upanishad, they explained there's 4 states of consciousness: Susupti, Swapna, Jagri, and Turiya. Now most people, they never even hear about Turiya. But the aim of human life is to, in this way, reach the 4th stage. Susupti means dreamless sleep. Swapna means dreaming sleep. Jagri means to be awake to the world, awakening state. But above that, there is the spiritual platform. So the special facility of human beings is that they can perform activities which unite them with that transcendental platform. And that is yoga. Yoga means plus, union. So union with what? Plus what? It means transcendence. So the platform of transcendence is described here. The mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone. Then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. So Prabhupada mentions in the purport there the state of Atmarama. Yes, the highly developed soul always remains satisfied in himself by realizing himself as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. So that transcendental platform of satisfaction, if we want to enter Turiya, we have to do it with one mood, and that is called Seva-bhav. In the material world, we're performing sense activities for our own self. So the karmic fruit comes to us. But on the spiritual platform, we perform our work, we inquire, we develop knowledge of transcendence for the satisfaction of Krishna. Just like Prabhu Jaya there, he's got his beads, Karbhajan. So Krishna says, Yagyanam tapasa. No, Japa Yagyanam. Of all yagyas, I am Japa, reciting the holy name. So this is the secret of life. It is not to act for one's own self, but to act for the satisfaction of Krishna. And we learn that through the spiritual master. One should gain a Uttamadikari spiritual master, and one should serve him. Yasya prasada bhagavat prasada yasya prasada nakati katopi. We can't go directly to Krishna because we're in this materially contaminated state. We're not purified. So we are trained in Seva-bhav to Krishna through the spiritual master. This is the secret. And we should be attentive, though, that what is described here, it is to be satisfied within the self. But that doesn't mean to say to be satisfied just in your individual self, but it means to be satisfied in relationship to Krishna. As Prabhupada says there in the purport, the last, one has only to carry out the order of Krishna or his representative, the spiritual master. That's in verse 53. And then 55 at the end, Prabhupada said more or less the same thing. Such transcendentally situated person has no sense desires resulting from petty materialism. Rather, he remains always happy in his natural position of serving the Supreme Lord. So, to enter the transcendental position means that to develop Seva-bhav towards Krishna and his devotees. In the material world, we are condemned to the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease because we act independently of the Supreme Lord. So therefore we get an independent result. And we don't want to know the Supreme Lord, so we're not taught the Supreme Lord. But if we can understand the necessity, the prayojan of the Supreme Lord and His service, then we work in that direction. But we must understand, to enter that Turiya, that platform is we're only admitted with service attitude. In the spiritual world, if you read Bhagavatam, you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, you read Nectar of Devotion, everybody has seva bhav. They are all servants. But in this material world, everyone is serving themselves. So instead of serving the Supreme Lord and His servants, they're serving themselves. So we remain on the material platform as long as the attitude of service to Guru and Krishna is not the ethos of our consciousness. We're condemned to rebirth by trying to be the enjoyer. What is that verse? Manashastra Indriyani Prakriti Stani Kashati Mavai Vangsa Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Manashastra Indriyani Prakriti Stani Kashati. That the material world, everyone is struggling with the senses, which include the mind, even though they are the part and parcel of Krishna. Because their attitude of service towards Krishna is pointed towards themselves. They become selfish. So this happy state here, to be transcendently situated, 55, to find satisfaction in the self alone, we should understand, yes, now that's what I want to attain, and the path is through developing service attitude. And this is the fruit of all Vedic knowledge, that yes, the Supreme Lord exists, I am His Angsa. Now I've fallen in the material world because I'm Bahir Mukh, I've turned my back on the Supreme Lord. But if I turn towards Krishna under the direction of Guru and Shastra, then I can awaken my natural Nityasiddha Krishna Prem Sadhakavanai Shravanadi Shuddhachitte Karidevadai. I can awaken love of God. And then all this lower concoction, as Prabhupada says there in the purport, it'll automatically subside. So Krishna consciousness means Turiya. But if we are to go to that platform, we have to develop Seva Bhav. Therefore, all our activities should be imbued with Seva Bhav. And what does the Hare Krishna mantra mean? It means, oh Krishna, please engage me in your service. So we must chant with that attitude. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram, but I've fallen in the material world, now you pick me up, Krishna. Please give me Seva Bhav. Please awaken my desire to serve. We are all servants after all. We are all serving our nation, our country, our land, our children, our pets, the taxman. We're all serving. But our service is misdirected. We are serving, but we have the mental concoction that I'm the enjoyer, that I am the Supreme Lord. We want to lord it over the material energy, but it is a concoction. The material energy is lording it over us. We are not in control of anything. We're not in control of this material world. But we think, yes, I'll make a secret society and I'll change the world as I see fit. I'll gather money, I'll gather friends. But then death comes and in one moment it's all gone. And the fruit is there. But Krishna is saying, don't walk that path, Arjuna. Walk the path of transcendence. And that means to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So any questions? Yes.
Just now when we discussed this, that is Atmaram. Can you, still I don't understand that is.
Atmaram, I said in the class. Atma means self. Ram means pleasure. So this means satisfied. See, Krishna is at Anandamoy Vyasat. He's full of pleasure. In the Vedanta Sutra it says, Atato Brahma Jignas Janmadi Asyata Anandamoy Vyasat. So it says, the first verse is, now you're a human being, you should inquire into transcendence. What is supreme? What is Brahma? And then the next verse is Janmadi Asyata, that the supreme is that from which everything is emanated. Right? So then, third verse, Anandamoy Vyasat. That Krishna is full of pleasure, full of transcendental bliss. So similarly, Krishna is full of unlimited bliss. He's Atmaram. He's the source of all pleasure. But we also, because we are Angsa of Krishna, we have the same quality as Krishna, we are also Atmaram. So even though we suffer in the material world, we don't want to finish our existence because we are self-satisfied, right? Even in hell, people find satisfaction. It's explained in the Shastra, Guru de Param. In hell, you can ask Yamaraj if you go there. Sometimes people, they take pleasure. How do they take pleasure? They see other people suffering in bad condition and they think, look at him suffering. He's suffering more than me. And they feel better for it. So this is the perverted mentality. Instead of compassion, they draw happiness from other people's suffering. But that is not the mode of goodness, Vaishnava. That's not the transcendental Vaishnava. He draws happiness from the happiness of others. But in the material world, this is a perverted condition. So, the Vaishnava, though, he is Atmaram in himself, but he's fully Atmaram because he's united with Anandamoy Vyasat. You understand? Krishna is pleasure-seeking. He is Atmaram, so that's discussed in Jaiva Dharma. If Krishna is full of pleasure, why does he engage in Leela? Right? What is the drive? Why is he Leela Mayi? Leela Mayi he wants to engage in pastimes. So in Jaiva Dharma, Bhakti Vinod, he spends time discussing this. He explains that the Leela of this Lord stimulates his pleasure. It increases it. And by expanding himself as the living entity, he takes pleasure in giving pleasure to others. You see. Just like you may be a great musician, but that doesn't mean to say, you sit quietly on your sofa. You want to use your musical ability. You want to display your musical ability. So, Supreme Lord is Atmaram. But he wants to give that pleasure, and he wants a situation that stimulates his innate abilities. And this is the Radha Krishna Leela, is it not? That he wants, Radharani, what does she think? What does she see in me? Right, Lord Chaitanya? Why is she feeling so much bliss? What is it like? So, somebody may say, this comes to another point, somebody may say, well, why does Krishna have to become in the mood of Radharani? Right? If he knows everything, and if he's got all pleasure within himself, why is he anxious to feel the pleasure that Radharani feels? Why does he want to understand himself? He is already full of all knowledge and all pleasure. Right? But that's not our condition. We're minute. So we have a certain self-satisfaction and ability. So then why is Krishna, who is full of all Anandamaya Sat, why is he engaging in Leela? So the answer given by Bhaktivinoda, because this Leela stimulates and increases his ability. Just like the musician, he likes to play for the audience. He likes to create music. And this stimulates himself. So this is personalism. Now you may ask, okay, but why is he inquiring about things? He should know everything already. So that is, Acharyas have explained that Krishna is Leelamayi and he is Sarvagyam. He knows everything. But he's also Mugdha. Mugdha in his Leela means bewildered, or he becomes overwhelmed. Therefore, when Mother Yashoda is chastising Krishna, don't steal butter, then Krishna is actually, he's not thinking, oh, this is Mother Yashoda and, nothing will happen to me. He's actually overwhelmed with that emotion. You understand? It enters into Leela. Just like when Lalita Shaki chastises Krishna. Krishna, you're not treating Radharani properly. I don't think we want to see you tonight. Then Krishna doesn't think, Radharani's in a mood, no problem. This is just Leela. I know it'll be okay. I know the future anyway. No, this is the amazing quality of Krishna. He's Mugdha. He actually enters into the Leela and he thinks, oh my God, I'm in trouble now. I'd better stay away from Chandravali. He actually enters into the emotions. You understand? Like when he's teaching Arjuna, he's not thinking Arjuna's in Maya, he'll be okay, I'll just talk to him. No, he's actually concerned for his friend. You understand? So the Leela, material and spiritual creation, all this stimulates the Supreme Lord. You understand? So he expands himself as the material and spiritual energy and the living entities to stimulate and to express himself. And we can understand that very easily. If we just sit at home, we become bored, right? We want to go into the chai shop and have a tea and a parley and talk to our friends. Of course, devotees don't do that. But what I mean to say is we want to associate with people. We want to make a contribution to society. So we have this impetus because that is within Krishna. And that is personalism. Now, if Krishna didn't have that, if he was just Atmaram, vibrating in transcendence, right? Is this personalism or impersonal? Is this monism? It indicates that the supreme absolute truth is some kind of impersonal energy field. So Atmaram means to be satisfied within the self. So Krishna is fully satisfied within himself, but we're only fully satisfied in connection with Krishna, because he is our Atma. He is Paramatma. He is a supreme soul. And we are part and parcel of Krishna. We are Angsa. Just like the finger. When it's united with the body, he feels pleasure. If the finger is separate, there's no pleasure. So the spirit, we are dependent Atmaram. And when we're independent, we have a certain sense of bliss of being and a certain desire to exist. But it's not satisfactory because we're not connected with the Supreme Lord. And we connect, as Prabhupada says, by being servitor, by seva bhav. So you are Atmaram, but you'll become more Atmaram, fully expressive, when you're connected with the Supreme Lord. And it's explained, I read in the Vedanta Sutra, Govinda Bhasya, it's explained there in the purports. Baladev Vidyabhushan, he explains that even though the spirit soul is so tiny, once the spirit soul is liberated, he becomes empowered with all sorts of abilities that he is practically on the same level as the Supreme Lord. But there is one potency the Supreme Lord doesn't expand upon him, and that is the ability to make another creation, to make another material world, or another version of the material world, or another version of the spiritual world. He maintains his position as the supreme source. But all the living entities in the spiritual world, they're wrestling with Krishna, they're chastising, Golok particularly, so they're empowered by Krishna to relate to the Supreme Lord on practically the same level. You understand? Just like Madhu Mangal at Keshi Ghat. So Madhu Mangal one day was thinking, oh, you know, Krishna, he gets all the girls. He plays his flute and all the girls chase after him. But he's no better than me. So I'm going to put on a tiara, like the one, or a crown. What are they called? Mukut. A mukut, just like Mother Yasoda puts on him, decorates him. I'm going to put in peacock feathers, and then all the girls will love me. So at the same time, Keshi had been sent by Kamsa, go and kill this Krishna. So Keshi came to Keshi Ghat. And he met Keshi Damana. Not thus, but anyway, so Madhu Mangal was wandering around there. And so Keshi, took the form of a horse, Rakshasa. There are many mystic powers, so he took form of horse. And he said, oh, look at this. This is Krishna. Look, he's got a mukut like Mother Yashoda gives. He's got a flute in his belt, and he's got peacock feathers. And look at that fancy garland. So he rushed up to Madhu Mangal and gave him a big kick. That's the energy. And Madhu Mangal flew a couple of kilometers. And he landed. He didn't die, of course, spiritual body. And he landed there and he thought, "Jeez, this is not being good, Krishna." And he took off the mukut, he took off the peacock feather. He said, "I'll put the garland there. He can be Krishna. And he can have all the girls. This is a dangerous thing, being Krishna." So of course we know the rest of the Leela. Keshi tracked down Krishna, and Krishna put his left hand into his mouth. Because the Keshi Asura, just for your knowledge, it means the pride a Vaishnav might feel. When he gains realization and knowledge, he might think, I'm as good as Krishna, you see. But that can be only of course, this is Madhu Mangal, this is Leela in the spiritual world. So he gives false teaching, you see. So that's the symbolism of Krishna putting his left fist into the mouth of Keshi. Because the Keshi is the false Vaishnav, the Kali Chela, uses his position and his knowledge for his self-aggrandizement. You understand? Now I'm a big man. I can have gold toilet seats. I have 10 silk kurtas. I have everything. So everyone just serve me, and then you'll become spiritual. So that is false teaching. And it comes after the Aristasura, Bahulashva, around the same time. So the Vaishnav, he is Atmaram in connection with Krishna. He doesn't think I'm Krishna. That's part of the teaching in the Madhu Mangal Leela. Don't think you're Krishna. Don't dress yourself up in a mental concoction, thinking I am the Supreme, because Maya will come and kick you.
So the last sentence, transcendently situated person has no the last sentence in this verse, transcendently situated person has no sense disease resulting from prati material.
Oh, me knee. Say again, what's that?
Last sentence in the
55th.
55.
Yeah.
So
Rather, he always remains happy.
they are Atmaram.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In his position of eternally serving the Supreme Lord. You see. So our Atmaram, like I say, I'll repeat, just summarize. In the material world, we have a certain bliss of being alive. We are self-satisfied. And we, everybody else is wrong, I'm right. Even in the worst condition, we're in Tihar jail, we still think, the world is wrong, I'm right. The judge is a fool. The lawyer cheated me. We're self-satisfied with our own mental concoction. You understand? Even in the material world. But if we want to have the real Atmaram, we have to enter into the spiritual platform. Because we're dependent, we're angsa. Like the finger, it's dependent upon the body for its proper functioning. So these principles of yoga are very important. But during the period of sadhana, we have to acquire knowledge. And then we'll understand everything clearly, the path. And we have to perform sadhana, that means regulated practice of becoming self-satisfied and becoming in pure transcendental consciousness. Understand? But once bhakti is developed, once rati is there, attachment, then it becomes automatic. But that is the fruit of sadhana. So we can become Atmarama by reading the Bhagavad-Gita, because we connect with Krishna in that way. Right? Huh? By taking prasad, we feel spiritual satisfaction. In fact, that's the way you can test if prasad is really prasad. When you take it, you should feel certain bliss. Right? If you don't feel any bliss, then it's highly unlikely that it's prasad. And there's a great science. It should be cooked with devotion, offered with devotion, and it should be taken with devotion. Then you can get transcendental bliss. Same thing with bhakti. You should perform all your madhyaji as an offering with seva bhav. You understand? Just like we want to enjoy the senses. So you can enjoy the senses. Even sex life, right? Krishna says, I am sex life that is according to the Shastra. Huh? It can be performed with service. Everything can be performed with service. Then we feel satisfied because we're in our position as servitor. Jivera Swarupoi Nichera Krishna Das. If we're not situated, if we're not sthita pragya, as the Sanskrit says here, if we're not atmavan, if we're not in possession of our real nature, we can't become Atmaram. You understand? We can just have an illusory idea of enjoyment and existence. But Krishna is Atmaram, and he performs all these activities, and he enters into, you might say, Yoga Maya, Mugdha. And therefore Golok Vrindavan is the place where Krishna forgets himself as the Supreme Lord. Hridam as Narayan, Lakshmi Narayan, then he's the Supreme Lord. So Krishna, he expands himself as the Chaturvyuha. He supervises, you know the Chaturvyuha? Vasudeva, Shankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. So he supervises the whole spiritual world. And he expands in the same way to supervise the whole material world. And he himself, he just enters into Leela. Just like a rich man. He deputes or running his business, his company. And then he goes and sits in his, his garden and goes swimming in the pool and admires the flowers and the sunset. He gives all the runnings of everything away. So Krishna is Supreme Person, Supreme Enjoyer, Supreme Atmaram. And if we want to become Atmaram, we have to have that servitor attitude, because that is our self. We never really become happy by being selfish, right? As they say as miserable as sin. So everything can be done for Krishna. Like when we take prasad, that is a form of worship. When we study the Gita, that is a form of worship. But at the beginning, the seva bhav is suppressed, less. It's not fully developed. Mood of service. Therefore, at the beginning, we have to become servant of Guru, qualified Guru. Then you become Atmaram, because you become possessed of yourself. You realize I'm spiritual, I'm not this body. And therefore you become less attached to Maya. And then you perform like that verse, what's that? Shri Rupa Manjari Pada, Say Mora Sampada, Say More Bhajana Pujana. I'm doing everything as service to Rupa Goswami, right? So that's the glory. Just like Madhavendra Puri came to Vrindavan and he found Gopal, and then at Govardhan, and Gopal said, "Oh my God, I've been hidden in these bushes because of the Muslims for so many years and I'm hot. Madhavendra, get me some sandalwood paste from Orissa." So Madhavendra Puri, I'd better go. So seva bhav, that is the sign of the Vaishnav. And the opposite is, you see, in Kali Yuga, everyone is just me, 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 me. Right?
One more question. One more question. There is Manasamhita, 4 things you said. Susukti, Swapna, Yagri, Turiya, something. 4 things you said.
Oh, the 4 states, that's from Mandukya Upanishad. Susupti means dreamless sleep, right? That's consciousness is withdrawn within the soul. Just like a bird draws its wings within itself, it doesn't fly at night. So that's susupti. Swapna means dreaming state, mode of passion. Dream and desire, so many ideas. Jagra is more in the mode of goodness. We're seeing the material world. But Turiya,
What is it? Yagri?
Jagra, Jagannath, Jaga, same idea, material world. And then Turiya means the 4th platform. You can read chapter 29 in the 11th canto. You know, the teachings of Uddhava, Krishna to Uddhava. Spiritual platform, that's what all yoga is about. through this angle, Hatha Yoga, Raj Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, bhakti-yoga. It's all different ways to unify with the Supreme. But bhakti is the most intimate, so it's the most powerful. But you can only reach Turiya with Seva Bhav. You understand? Just like the material world. In this is the material world. So everyone in the material world on this side of the book, on this page, is selfish. Whereas in the spiritual world, everyone is unselfish. They're all service attitude. So the sadhu is not materially engrossed. Right, the end of this chapter is a very nice sloka, 72. You can study that. A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego. So he's given up desire, he's given up proprietorship and false ego. He alone can attain real peace. And then last verse, that is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated, even at the hour of death, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Okay. We'll finish on that point. So that's the whole Vedic knowledge in one chapter, right? Go back to Godhead by becoming servant of the servant of the servant of the Supreme Lord. That's yoga. And understanding that this material world is just a mental concoction. If you sit next to a polar bear on the North Pole, the polar bear might say, oh, it's very warm today, isn't it? It's summer. But you're thinking, no, it's very cold, Mr. Polar Bear. So it's all just opinionation. Everyone's opinion, right? Oh, it's the Americans are ruling the world. No, it's the Chinese. No, it's this, it's that. Everyone is in a world of mental concoction. And you can see that if you go into the world of the media. Everyone has an opinion, and they're all useless. Okay, we'll finish at this point. Thank you all very much. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.